And this is the Straight Talk Morning Show. My name is Andre Hill, your host. And today, my co-host engineer is in the back office working on some engineering stuff to keep the show going. So he will not be present. Also, Elspeth is not on, might be because of technical difficulty. But we have the chairman, Sir Terrence Lake. How you doing this morning, sir?
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm doing fine. Weather-wise, it's a little cloudy. We had a couple little small tornadoes up here in the Detroit area. In fact, my stepdaughter, her power went off, and hopefully it'll be on soon, but we're surviving.
Isn't that a little unusual for this time of the year?
It is very unusual, especially tornadoes up in this area, talking about 3 or 4. Climate change or man's manipulation with the weather, chemtrail. You can name a few things that could disrupt things.
Well, that's why this show, the name of it is the Low Frequency ETs and the mentally deranged 1% human puppets are moving Earth into the checkmate position. That's what we're talking about today. And what we can do about it as a people, as a collective. But once again, let me go into this. Chairman, I just wanted to reaffirm what our purpose is about. We share a lot of videos, we share a lot of posts from other people because everybody is receiving these messages. They're being downloaded into their spiritual consciousness, and they don't know where it's coming from. But I notice when I'm on YouTube, Facebook, a lot of people are saying the same thing, and they're getting these downloads. If your spirit is right, if you have developed a code of ethics, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't break the laws of matrimony or whatever. You are now starting to receive these downloads, and you don't know a lot of people don't know what to do with them. A lot of people don't know how to process them. And so what I see us doing, Chairman, being we are elders of the community, we've been around for a while, and I think that we can interpret them based on the knowledge that we have, because you, Chairman, have been out there preaching to people longer than I have about the universe is much broader than people think.
Absolutely.
So I'm encouraging them. I know that a lot of the generations are behind us are disenfranchised with the melanated Aboriginal Black elders of the community, but you don't need to be disenfranchised with all of us. The chairman and I recognize this, and we put our lives and our careers on the line to bring you this knowledge and this information. So we're asking you to get involved, because it's a bit much for our generation. We're not technologically advanced like a lot of you younger folks. So we need your assistance. We need engineers. We need social media people. We need researchers. We need administrators, because it is evident that this system is failing. And it's failing because, of the laws of karma. Karma is a reality. What you reap what you sow, what you put out, you get back. The bed you make with lying, all of these terms that we've been using over my knowledge of the last 70 years, it all reflects back on karma. And the energy that you put out is the energy that you're going to receive. And so what the chairman and I are doing is basically interpreting the things that are going on, because we've seen it over the last 7 years. We've seen the cycle over and over again. And Chairman, I don't know about you, but from my perspective, I don't see this getting any better if we maintain the same course. You know the old saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So that's what we're all about, and that's what we're doing to bring you this knowledge, because your time and I hate, this is not a fear factor, this is reality. There's a clock on our existence. And even in the so-called book of Bible and Revelations, the guardians of the Most High, the Supreme Being, whatever you want to call it, basically said, if you all don't get your act together, we will take this planet away from you and give it to others. And that's in Revelations, and I can't remember the scripture because I've kind of gotten away from that. But I'm sharing that with you because I study other books. That was my introduction to spirituality, was through a Southern Baptist church right here in the Tampa Bay area. And so I was brought up reading the Bible. I understand why I did that, because in order for me to help those individuals that are seeking spiritual perfection, I had to know what journal or manual they read or studied to get them to where they are right now. And so that I can show my abilities to interpret what it really meant, even though white supremacy was trying to keep you as a slave. It basically was telling you that, these things, some of them are true, but that's not what we really meant. So I got a small glitch here and I got kicked out. So the engineer gonna have to come over here and kick me back in. So Chairman, your thoughts on what I just said in terms of us interpreting?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, just being a human on this planet, in this universe, your mind tells you that something brought us here. We're here for a reason. Now, there's some scientists saying, oh, wow, the universe is bigger than what we thought. When you deal with infinity, it's beyond your imagination. So they say it's twice as big. You can't put a number and say it's twice as big. Infinity is infinity. You look at the universe, it's like an illusion. We're here right now communicating to our brothers and sisters around the planet. But, 20 years from now, in a sense, maybe 30, hopefully, that we won't be here, but there will be people here. So it's like an illusion for us because we're dealing with the now, what's happening now. And 100 years from now, most of the people that are here on this planet won't be here. So you can't put a figure and say a number, how old the universe is, how many people that are here in this infinite universe, but it is what it is because we are here right now. But we know we won't be here for forever. And that's why we're trying to make things right, because we were divinely created to make a change in life, not to accept, just coming here, living, and then dying. We're creative like our creator. And we're trying to make things that people have a good time while they're here. But it's up to us to make it that way. I mean, there's wars still happening, they're small, not big like they were, but we have to stop that. We've got to learn how to live in harmony with each other. The extraterrestrials, like you say, they're out there, they're watching us, but they can't interfere because we were put here for a reason. And I believe that reason was that we need to learn how to live in harmony with each other. And then we're able to just flourish and go and do all these great things, but it's up to us. God ain't gonna do it. If God wanted to do it, it would have been done a long time ago. When a plane crash and all the people get killed, can you blame God for that? No. It's probably some mechanical issue because you got thousands of planes that it doesn't happen to, and all of a sudden one happened to it, and then you say, well, God could have saved it, God would have saved it. No. You can't look at life like that. It's all on us for this little short time that we have while we're here. And that's why we got to come together, because it can be so much better. It's better than it was, in my opinion, but it can be so much better. I'll land the plane right now, regroup.
All right, so we just had an engineering glitch, and luckily the engineer is in the back room, but he had to come out and get me back on another computer. I don't know how he did it, but it was weird. Just click me out. So let me go ahead and read the topics for the day. As I was saying, good afternoon, family. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, the low frequency extraterrestrials. And there are two sets of extraterrestrials. There are ones that are living out all throughout the universe. And then there's a group that we believe that lives in the subterranean parts of the earth. And we're building a show that will reflect from our book, Lucifer's Revenge, as to who they are and the technology that they have that's been protecting this planet as well. They were allowed to be here and to operate in the subterranean parts of the earth. And you know, at first I was reluctant to it, but then I had to employ the understanding that all things are possible in the universe. So once again, these entities, there is at least one group that are benevolent. And they are concerned about what we're doing on the surface because, you know, crap flows downstream. And so if they're beneath the surface, they get the crap that we send down there. And they're probably getting tired of it and coming to a conclusion that a change needs to be made. So those ETs and the mentally deranged 1% human puppets are moving Earth into a checkmate position. Those preventing history from being taught intend to repeat it. And I send out a thank you from Bishop Omega. Bishop Omega sends us some really serious information for us to send out. And so we do that. And we want more of our listening audience to get involved with this show, because if you have some information and you have a job or you're in a situation where you can't go out on it and say it, if we will review it, and if it makes sense to what we're talking about, then we're going to give you credit for giving us, sharing that information with us. So you can become a journalist, a contributor to this show, and eventually, when you get the opportunity, you can come join us. And you know, because we're going to need a whole network of knowledge, because that deals with the second part of what I'm reading. I believe that the Aboriginals of Earth are the only ones spiritually capable of leading our planet from destruction. One small flaw: they must be properly educated and must know who they really are. Okay, also that we ran across a news article and a video that we're going to play a brief part of it. The Negro race has billions in the US. What happened to our equity? Tune in and be enlightened. All right, so let us get into the first video, and that will tie into the first part of the session of today's show to give us some insight. Once again, people send us these videos and they want us to express them. And we will do that because everybody is picking up on this frequency that's being transmitted to us, and everybody can't do something about it. Me and the chairman, we're warriors, we're fearless, and we're going to put it out there. Engineer, go ahead and play that.
They ban Black history in school, and you'll be shocked why. We are going to delve into a topic that might leave you surprised, disappointed. They ban Black history in school, and you'll be shocked why. We are going to delve into a topic that might leave you surprised, disappointed, and angry all at once. We're talking about the shocking truth behind the banning of Black history in our school curriculums. So they have banned the schools. Yes, they literally put the future of the students at stake. But why? The reason is more shocking. To understand this, we need to go back in time and examine the roots of this sinister practice from the 19th century to the 20th century. Black history was deliberately suppressed by white leadership to maintain control and power and uphold racist ideologies. As we dig into the historical accounts, we'll begin to see a pattern of violence and discrimination inflicted upon black communities. Let's start with the Atlanta Massacre of 1906. Atlanta, once a bustling city, became the epicenter of the regional economy, drawing in a significant black population. However, with this growth came challenges, and white leadership responded by implementing restrictions to control the behavior of the burgeoning black working class. The social intermingling of the races was frowned upon, leading to an expansion of Jim Crow segregation, further deepening racial tensions.
Running a small business takes grit and determination, and a communication solution from Spectrum Business. Just $59.99 a month for 600 megabits per second internet when bundled with Spectrum Business Connect, plus a free mobile line, all from Spectrum Business.
Fast forward to the Rosewood Massacre of 1923 in Florida. The thriving black community of Rosewood was a haven of prosperity and peace until a horrifying incident of racial violence turned everything upside down. White mobs descended on the town, burning it to the ground and leaving a scar that would last for decades. The true death toll was hidden for years, with white historians largely ignoring the tragedy until much later. But why would anyone want to ban black history in school? And you'll be shocked to know the real reason behind the removal of the stories of a significant part of our population. Children were literally not allowed to go to schools. It means that they were not allowed to take decisions. Then how are they supposed to enlighten themselves? Let's try to understand. Behind this dark conspiracy, the Springfield race riot of 1908 in Illinois played a crucial role. Here, tensions between black and white residents escalated, leading to a deadly riot and leaving 6 black people lynched and hundreds driven out of Springfield. The aftermath of this riot contributed to the formation of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP, in 1909, which aimed to fight against racial violence and discrimination. The Slocum Massacre of 1910 in Texas was a brutal event targeted at blacks, resulting in the deaths of numerous African Americans. The incident remained buried in history until investigative efforts unveiled the horrific details in the 1980s. These are just a few instances of the violence and oppression faced by black Americans throughout history, and they paint a grim picture of the realities of our black brothers and sisters and what they have endured. So why isn't this history being taught in our schools? The truth is, the omission of black history from curriculums was a deliberate act perpetuated by white supremacists who wanted to maintain the status quo of racial segregation and oppression. By erasing these stories from textbooks, they sought to perpetuate a distorted narrative that diminished the contributions and resilience of black people throughout history. This intentional erasure aimed to reinforce stereotypes and maintain a false sense of superiority among white Americans. It was a means to ensure that black individuals were seen as lesser, that their voices were silenced, and their achievements were disregarded. Unfortunately, this trend of erasing black history continues to persist in some parts of our education system. The consequences of this erasure are profound. Black students are deprived of the opportunity to learn about their heritage, culture, and the struggles their ancestors faced and overcame. Conversely, white students are robbed of a comprehensive understanding of American history and the role black Americans played in shaping our nation. Now let's examine the profound impact this erasure has had on our communities and the urgent need for acknowledgement. The erasure of black history from school curriculums has left a deep and lasting impact on black communities. When students are not taught about the struggles, achievements, and contributions of their ancestors, it creates a sense of disconnection and alienation. It reinforces the idea that black history is somehow separate from American history, when in fact, it is an integral part of the fabric that makes up our nation. By failing to acknowledge black history, we are perpetuating a cycle of ignorance and perpetuating harmful stereotypes. This lack of understanding contributes to the perpetuation of systemic racism and the marginalization of black individuals in society. It leaves young minds ill-equipped to confront issues of race and discrimination, hindering the progress toward a more inclusive and equitable society. Furthermore, the erasure of black history denies all students the opportunity to learn about the struggles and resilience of black Americans in the face of adversity. It prevents them from understanding the historical context of racial disparities and the ongoing fight for civil rights. Without this knowledge, students are ill-equipped to engage in meaningful conversations about race and work toward dismantling the structures of inequality. To make progress, we must confront the uncomfortable truths of our history and ensure that Black history is woven into the fabric of our education system. It is essential to provide students with a comprehensive and accurate portrayal of American history that includes the struggles, achievements, and contributions of Black Americans. Many advocates, educators, and organizations are working tirelessly to promote the inclusion of Black history in our school curriculums. They understand that acknowledging this history is not about assigning blame or guilt, but about recognizing the truth and learning from our past to create a better future. It's time to challenge the status quo and demand change. We must call on policymakers and educational institutions to take action and ensure that Black history is given the prominence it deserves in our classrooms. Implementing inclusive and diverse curriculums that celebrate the diversity of our nation will help break down the barriers of ignorance and create a more tolerant and compassionate society. Across the country, there are educators who are taking it upon themselves to integrate Black history into their curriculums and create a more inclusive learning environment. They understand that by doing so, they are not just teaching history, they are cultivating empathy, understanding, and critical thinking skills in their students. One way educators are incorporating Black history is by using diverse teaching materials, such as books, documentaries, and articles that highlight the experiences of Black Americans. They are moving away from a singular narrative and presenting a more comprehensive and accurate portrayal of American history. Moreover, educators are encouraging open and honest discussions about race and racism in their classrooms. By creating a safe space for dialogue, they empower their students to confront difficult topics, challenge stereotypes, and examine their own biases. These conversations are instrumental in fostering empathy and understanding among young minds. Social media and technology are also playing a vital role in spreading awareness about Black history. Online platforms provide a space for sharing stories, resources, and educational content that can reach a wide audience. By harnessing the power of social media, activists, educators, and individuals alike can amplify the importance of Black history and demand change. So, what can we do as individuals to contribute to this movement and ensure that Black history is given the prominence it deserves? First and foremost, we can educate ourselves. Take the time to learn about Black history beyond what you may have been taught in school. Read books, watch documentaries, and listen to podcasts that tell the stories of Black Americans and their contributions to our society. Knowledge is the first step towards dismantling ignorance. Secondly, we can support organizations and initiatives that are working to promote Black history in schools. Donate to local museums, libraries, or educational programs that prioritize inclusive curriculums and celebrate Black history. Lastly, we must continue to have open and honest conversations about race and racism with our friends, family, and colleagues. Be willing to confront uncomfortable truths and challenge harmful stereotypes by engaging in these discussions. We can create a ripple effect that promotes empathy, understanding, and ultimately positive change. In conclusion, the erasure of Black history in schools is a tragic reality that perpetuates racial inequality and fosters ignorance. It denies Black students the opportunity to see themselves represented in the narrative of their nation's history and perpetuates harmful stereotypes. Acknowledging Black history is not just about acknowledging the pain and suffering endured by Black communities, but also celebrating their triumphs and contributions. Fortunately, there is hope on the horizon. Educators and communities are taking the initiative to promote Black history and create a more inclusive learning environment. By educating ourselves, supporting initiatives, and using our voices and engaging in open conversations, we can all contribute to this crucial movement. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and reflection. If you find this video informative, give it a thumbs up.
Okay, so whoever produced that, and I don't see it on the markup, but support these stations because people are trying to get the information out there on how we're going to solve these problems. And like we're not in competition with any other talk shows. We encourage them because that helps assist, aid, and abet more people waking up from this sleep, this heroin drip that we've been on for the last 500 years. So let me, Chairman, before I throw the ball to you about what your thoughts are on what's going on. I'm in the state of Florida, my home state, where the governor has sanctioned to not teach the true history. So now, first and foremost, so we're glad that this governor is getting this out of his system right now, because one of the things that my son and I talked about when we were writing the book, Lucifer's Revenge, is that the white supremacy is a virus that exists in our society, and it had to come to the surface in order for us to cure it. So one of the things that, you can rest assured is that this governor, he's guaranteed that his seed will be eliminated from the human race for another 2,000, maybe 10,000 years. And we won't have to worry about him for a long time. But by him bringing this out, along with other politicians that uses white supremacy to urge Caucasian men to vote for them, because these Caucasian men think that they're not worthy or man enough to exist in this system, and they need white supremacy as a crutch. That's the only reason they vote for white supremacy. It's the only reason. So first and foremost, once again, Lucifer was a melanated being in the beginning. So he went wrong when he gave up on the new experiment of Earth, human beings. And he did not want to serve those human beings. That's his mistake. And he's going through a cycle of resurrection from the brink because of his mistake. So he's got to be reincarnated over and over again. He has to use different tactics of acquiring a human body just to continue his agenda. And even one day in the future, maybe 1,000,000 years from now, Lucifer will wake up and come from the depths and start going back into the direction of the light. So all you Caucasian men that are voting for white supremacy, you're guaranteeing your seed to end because you're teaching your children a lie. Lucifer doesn't care about you. He wants you to serve him or her as a god. And the gods, is a confusion. It's a mentally deranged confusion when you want to project yourself as a god. So one of the reasons we wrote this book, Lucifer's Revenge, is to help clarify that. That low frequency entity will encourage people that's beholding to it to do horrendous things. And that is why we've had all of these attacks, murders, hangings, rapes, and all of these sort of things. And Lucifer, him and her will tell you to do those things, but you have an ability of discernment to say, what are the repercussions for this? My seed is going to be ended. My children are going to be, well, I don't like using the word cursed, but they will be damned, for many lifetimes, unless those children reject you. And in the Caucasian community, you'll notice your children don't listen to you. They don't respect you. They curse back at you, and you have no control over them because they are waking up to what white supremacy is all about. So for those politicians that continue to use this tactic against our own species, hey man, you in some deep trouble. And I recommend, you can get with me and the chairman, and we'll help bring you back from the darkness into the light. So Chairman, that's my take on it. What's your take on that piece?
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean about the younger ones waking up. The older ones, like our generation, they had to control us because they knew our potential. They knew that if they gave us equal opportunity, that we would rise to the occasion, to be conquerors in a sense of whatever task we had, we would be able to complete it. And by them knowing this, it put fear in some of their hearts. And I'm not saying all, because like you say, the younger generation is a new breed. They're not going along with the white supremacy that their parents, resulted to. That's not a way of solving things, and if there's a problem, you've got to address that problem. I wrote something down. When you make a mistake, you don't want to forget that mistake. You need to let your descendants know so they won't make that same mistake, and it's on both sides. We make mistakes, but we don't just, okay, forget it. I'm not going to address it. I'm going to just forget about it. No, you need to know so you don't make that mistake again. And it goes with our Caucasian brothers and sisters. If they think they're superior and now they realize that they're not superior, I mean, you just got to deal with people on an individual basis. You got to let people live and have opportunity, and each individual learns at a different rate, but we want the smartest at the top because that elevates us all as a human race. We need that. It's very important. I'll land that plane on that.
Okay, so one of the things that the chairman and I know that all humans are looking for leadership on this planet, and they've all been contaminated by the European white supremacy colonization program. It doesn't matter what country you're in, these entities, they'll go into those countries and they'll study the culture, and understanding the same laws of existence that the chairman and I understand, they will put money, resources into illicit leaders to take over and contaminate these countries. But if you're looking for leadership, the chairman and I are part of a council of elders, and you can come to us in your decision-making process, or if you want to start moving in the direction of building your own self-sustainable community, you can come up under the United Aboriginal American Republic as Native Americans, as Aboriginal Americans, and you can do these things. We're developing financial systems because, as you can see, I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, but wherever you go, prices are going up in anticipation of the BRICS dollar coming online. And they have one intent, and that's to devalue the European and the American US dollar because it's built on hate and white supremacy. And so that can no longer, anytime you're dealing with negative energy like that, it has an expiration date on it. No matter what you try to do to try to patch it up, to keep it going, it's determined it's going to fail. So your best shot right now is to switch over to a new type of currency until we get to the point that no currency is really needed, because at that point in the future, dollar bills, that's going to become obsolete when you discover your true purpose of staying in balance with nature. So, so we are encouraging you, if there anybody between the chairman and I, well, we got about 150, almost 150 years of experience on this planet combined. And that's not including the other elders that we consult with. So if you know of anybody else on this planet that's got just the chairman and I, that's on a high frequency, let us know. We will join forces with them. But until then, you have us. Come get involved. Stop delaying the process of sitting back. Well, I don't know. I'm scared. I talked to elder sister, and I was explaining to her, what I represent, and she said, "Oh, you're scaring me. I won't be able to sleep at night." And I was just telling her the truth. And so I think about a lot of those people. And and I asked her, I said, well, let me ask you something. Did your preacher at the church that you attend remind you or tell you about the United States government people that went before Congress and confessed that the United States shadow government has been lying. They've been working with extraterrestrials, and they've retrieved bodies, alien bodies, and flying devices? She said, no, they didn't talk about that. I said, what? They didn't even mention it? I mean, you know, that's a total contradiction to the, at least a 90% contradiction to the Bible. So why wouldn't they at least try to deal with the topic and say, well, we know we've been preaching this here, but these entities, they're not really angels, but they were extraterrestrials with advanced technology. So, you know, if you're not getting it in your church, you know, and we've reached out to those ministers to offer them, you know, not to challenge them or to dog them out about misleading our people, but to help them transition from the depths of lies and deceptions into a system of light, inspiration. You know, if you're too afraid to face the truth, something's wrong with that programming. You know, it's like how are we going to protect our children if we are afraid, if we're hiding our head in the sand? So, you know, so the bottom line of that is we have the leadership. We know our people need leadership. Where you going to get it from? The elders. Who are me and the chairman? What do we represent? We represent the elders. We're here for you. We're here to help you solve those problems. So we got another video. Now we're going to make this one short because it deals with the second part of our show, which talks about the Negro race has billions in the U.S. and what happened to that billion, that equity that we have. And once again, the whole part of this piece is, one, you got to be properly educated. All right, the school systems, as you see, like here in the state of Florida, they don't want that. You think they just want to take out Black history? They've taken out all the good stuff that we're going to rewrite in our curriculum. So once again, the Aboriginal people on this planet are the only ones that can lead the resurrection of this planet. But they have to be properly educated and they have to know who they are. So this piece here is to help you understand, you Aboriginals here in the Americas, who you are. So go ahead and hit that video.
Hey family, please turn your mobile devices to landscape mode for the best viewing experience. Thank you. Welcome back to another episode of Hidden Heritage, where we follow the breadcrumbs to discover more evidence of who the real Aboriginal/Indigenous American Indians were that inhabited the Americas and that are still here till this day. Before we dive into the rabbit hole of the truth, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. If you are already subscribed to the channel, welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for your unwavering support. Please continue to like and share and leave your thoughts down below as well so more people can see the truth. Now we have in front of us, Negro race has 1 billion in the US. This is from a news article, and I just wanted to reiterate how absurd it is for someone coming off of a slave boat, right, to be able to come to the US and accumulate this much wealth in such a short period of time. And the main agenda for a slave to come off of a boat into the Americas, they wasn't even allowed to read or write, or unless it was the Bible. Okay. And then we have this right here, a bunch. This is just one snippet of so much inventions by the Aboriginals of the Americas in the USA specifically. And we're trying to convince other people that these were slaves that came off of a slave boat that nobody has proof of that's invented all of this and accumulated that much wealth. And so if you're wondering what happened to all that wealth, well, this is what happened. Okay? This is what we know of. This is what we know of. I'm pretty sure it was thousands more. Okay? I mean, we talking redlining, we talking Jim Crow laws, all that, you know. So, and then here we have the Indian Territory in Oklahoma. And this red line you see here is where you have the Indian Wall Street. And if you notice, it's on Indian territory where they have had all their businesses, or some of their businesses, which was attacked by the government. And of course, here, as one of the most prominent concentrations of Aboriginal American businesses in the United States during the early 20th century, it was popularly known as America's, I'm not going to say that, it's going to be Indian Wall Street. Let's keep moving. Okay, I know most of us have seen this, but as you can see, people know what this is. They buy and sell it all the time, right? So you see here, Venetian, American Indian, and then you see Blackamoor. So from that Blackamoor nomenclature or misnomer, or whatever the case may be, you know they were not talking about today's Mongolian, which is also the Native Americans. So you knew that they were talking about the Aboriginals of the Americas. All right, so here as well, we have another one that I'm sure a lot of us haven't seen on the right. You see this woman right here with the hoop earrings, okay? And then we see, you turn it around and you see the hair. And they have a Native American Indian cigar Indian collection. And we're the only ones that was ever labeled as a cigar Indian or tobacco Indian. And this is how you know that it was legit, because this is what they would use to replace it here today, Mongolian, okay? And then back in the day, that's all you saw was our people being depicted as Indians. He has on his war bonnet, his Indian headdress, his Indian attire, his regalia. You know, he even have the bracelet around his wrists that they try to say that they use that as our shackles, but the whole like coming off of a slave ship nonsense was told in reverse. So they were pretty much shipping people out of the Americas to the Caribbeans and Europe, and even to Africa, you know, but nobody ever came from Africa like that. And especially if you haven't done your genealogy. So if you do your genealogy, you'll know for sure. But nobody can look themselves in the mirror and say what country they came from in Africa, what was their ancestor's name, whether it was a male or female, the age, the dialect, anything. Nobody can do that. That further proves to yourself that you didn't even come from Africa if you don't know anything about it. Your grandparents never told you anything about it. So what are you talking about? How are you African descent? And I've proven in the last couple of videos, if you want to know which one that is, that America is actually the cradle of civilization. America is the motherland, fatherland, and grandmotherland. So, and they got plenty of sources to prove it. So if you're going to comment down below saying no, you got to come with some source. You can't just say no, because I got plenty of sources, hundreds of sources saying that America is actually the cradle of civilization.
All right, so this brother is brilliant. Once again, you can check out their video, follow them. These people are doing research on the true history of the Americas. So basically, the Europeans, Lucifer's children, lied. You know, just like they admitted that, you know, well, okay, we've been lying to the human people and about the extraterrestrials, and more lies. This is the period of revelation, and revelation means to reveal. So all of this stuff is coming out now. What the synopsis of this video is saying: how could we have invented? How could we have done all the things we built this nation, this country? How could we have done that? And we just came over on some ships from boats from Africa. Africa, they are brothers and sisters, but they have a culture, and we have a culture. There were Africans brought over here, and they were all thrown in the same slave. If you were dark skinned, you were thrown in. You were then classified as a Negro and thrown into the slave camps. So of course, some of you have African DNA because while you were thrown into slave camps, some of the men and some of the women made it with those Africans, and you have some of that DNA in your system. So you have this is the wake up call. You got to wake up. So these entities. Now let me summarize this. These Caucasian people, they were able to do this because we was divided. All the nations, every now and then there were skirmishes and crazy stuff going on. And so Lucifer, a black man, knew this, and he came up with a way, if he was going to destroy the human experiment on planet Earth. That's what Lucifer's revenge was all about. I'm gonna recapture what I've been saying for the last few shows. He started a resurrection like Trump did in a faraway place and was exiled to a desolate planet. And so he was given the opportunity to come to Earth and corrupt the entire planet. Who gave him that opportunity? It's gonna be in our book, Lucifer's Revenge. Right now, we know the tall whites and the Aryan groups, I said this several shows back, they are nice, nasty racists because they say, well, we're not going to do the horrible things, but we will give Lucifer the technology to come to Earth. And so they provided the portal for him or her to come here and cause all the ruckus that he did. And so you have to understand, when you purchase, go and pre-order the book Lucifer's Revenge at the we're going to post it on the screen, because that helps us to pre-order as many to print as many books as necessary in that first wave. So what we're doing here is, if you summarize this whole thing, bringing it into perspective, focusing in on what the objective is here, it will help you to understand who you are, the knowledge that you must have. You were lied to. Chairman, what do you think about that video? And Chairman, I'm looking at your cranial. I know you was original Aboriginal and your bloodline. What do you think about that video? And how does it, affecting you with the extraterrestrial, and you telling your family who they are?
Well, looking at that video, I give it a different take, because with me, it doesn't matter what planet you came from, you're here, we are here, and we're here for a purpose, but looking at it from your perspective, as far as being Indians, Aboriginal Indians, it gives me food for thought, okay? Because like I say, it doesn't matter what planet you came from, you're here. And even the texture of your skin, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to see things fair. Who's ever in control, make things fair, equal opportunity, so we can solve these minor issues that's solvable. There's no way on God's earth that people should be starving. That's just unthinkable. And it's only man that's creating this situation. Like you said, with the prices of everything going up, that's man's doing. That's not nature's doing. We got more than enough land on this planet to feed everybody 1,000 times over. We could store it for hundreds of years because we're learning as we go. But we've got to come together and, not worry about where someone came from. The fact is that we're here. We're here. And who's first, second, third, it don't matter. We're here. I'll land that plane.
So that's the beauty of our Council of Elders. So if you're hearing the message I'm delivering from my perspective and hearing the ones that the chairman, that is a balance of fairness. I'm harder on waking up the Aboriginals because I know that they're going to have to take the lead on this. A lot of our Caucasian brothers and sisters, they got to struggle through the negative karma of having the nerve to say, I know I might be wealthy and I got my wealth off the backs of these Aboriginals. I think I'm going to contribute to a worthwhile cause to correct my karma. So the chairman is here to receive you and talk to you, and he will explain to me why that's got to happen. But in my mindset, to the Aboriginals of all over this planet, you have melanin in your skin because you have a pineal gland that's receiving directly energy and inspiration from the sun. And so it's your cause and your purpose to get into the first position to make the change, to change this planet. We're calling on you. Stop being afraid. Everybody, you're gonna die at some point. From the moment you were born, you started dying. So why go out on your knees praying, when you can go out standing and fighting for what's right? That's what the whole thing is about. That's why we don't have just one leader. I mean, I'm a big mouth and I like to do a lot of talking. The chairman is more cool and laid back. He does his talking too, but we have a balance. I have to respect his opinion and he respects mine. And any other elders that come into this mix, we're going to respect yours. Now, to those elders that have not come in yet, whatever nest egg that you have created, half of it's going to go to pen, keep getting your children out of jail, taking care of them because they're not able to navigate in this Luciferian system right now without compromising their soul. And if they compromise their soul, your seed ends. That's just clear. So the resources that you have, we are setting up a financial institution based on intrinsic value. Intrinsic value are natural resources, time, and labor. So I believe that the BRICS coalition is going to do the same thing because our United Aboriginal American Republic, we're going to join this BRICS conglomerate. And here's why. Here I am at my 70s. I still can't go to the bank and say, I need $100 million for my children. They'll look at me like, well, what you gonna collateralize it? Well, first of all, this is our land. I'm collateralizing with our land that you went and sold off to China. You didn't sell it off. You signed a fake piece of paper to China and Russia and all them other people to finance. So, but we have another associate, and I've talked about this a couple of weeks on the show. He's the same age as the chairman, and he has many years of development experience. When he went to go to a bank to get his deal financed, they said, well, sir, if you haven't done anything in the last 10 years, we can't finance you. Now, this man's got a wealth of knowledge. So this banking system has proven that it's not going to do right by us. Redlining, and a host of other discrimination, giving bad loans to Native American people that want to finance their homes with higher interest rates with hopes that you will foreclose so they can take your property. It's imperative that you divest from this European design, because you're going to lose all your money. So why not invest in our United Aboriginal American Republic, and let's set up a banking system to collaborate with the African and the Caribbean nations to build a currency based on intrinsic value and not this illusion of gold and the United States military that if you don't do like we say, we will come beat you upside the head. That's what the dollar, that's the only strength that the dollar has. You know, so so Chairman, you know, I get into this mode, and what would you say to those elders that's sitting back? Half of them are afraid. Some of them are like on the borderline, but you know, and Chairman, one other thing I want to say is we're not going to be, you know, one man is not going to be controlling the bank. So you elders are going to help control the bank in a democratic system. So what would you say to them, those elders, Chairman? They need to go to our email. They need to send us an email. Let us know who they are so that they can be a part of this movement.
Well, you got to do something. You know, you just can't sit back on the fence and watch our society go to hell, you know, and probably 50%, and that might be a lot, but 50% of them are afraid to make waves, you know, but sometimes you just got, all the time you got to step out and speak your truth, you know, and that's the only way you're going to get a situation solved. We need to know the truth. And there's been too many lies, and people just don't have that discernment like a lot of people that are seeking that discernment. Like we're divinely created, but we just can't sit on that fence. We got to take a stand one way or the other. Because like you say, we all got to die. You know, you're going to die, but we're here to make it better for our children. We're the elders, you know, we're doing what we're doing for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, for yours, because we're all a human family. But we got to come together to make this thing right. And when we make it right, everybody's going to be happy. It just was meant to be that way, but we got to make it happen that way. So don't be afraid. I land that plane.
All right, so the one part that I want to reinforce about the Negro race have billions. So they explained to you, they showed you 4 long lines of inventors and developers that were Aboriginal. You know, all of that was, all of their resources, let's say 95% of it was decimated through massacres. And they showed you all them points all over. So you Aboriginals, you Black Native Americans, all of the southeastern and northeastern United States of the Americas, you were already here thousands of years, you know, and everything that you invented and developed was whitewashed, replaced with the Mongoloid Native Americans, the ones that the Catholic Church negotiated on their behalf, and went in and raped those children, the little boys, and impregnated the girls, did all those horrible things too. And then they put us in the slave camp. So it's just a matter of you coming to that conclusion that we can regain our country. But the reason that they were able to do this is because we were divided. You know, just like America is divided, that's another guarantee why the United States government is going to fail, because we're divided. You got one group that's voting for white supremacy and the other group is voting for democracy, but the Democrats that claim they're for democracy, they're playing the same head games. I think most of them been infiltrated by those illicit Republicans that wants money, greed over humans. You know, so all these are the issues and the points, and we've reached our 1 hour, and we're going to try to get back to shortening it to an hour because we know your attention span ain't that long. So, but that's my take on the show. I'm hopeful, Chairman, that they got across to how we're going to recapture those billions and convert it into intrinsic value for our children. You know, stop sitting back, waiting and wondering. Your leaders are here. Your Martin, your Malcolm, your Marcus Garvey. We were right here in our Council of Elders. And you need to come join us and contribute and let's make a difference. Chairman, you have your closing words?
Hey, strength is in numbers. You got to come together. It can change. I mean, it's not totally bad because you could look at it positive or negative. You could look at it in a negative sense and you want to go out and commit suicide. But you look at it in a positive sense and you'll just feel glorified. You feel that, oh, wow, we finally arrived. We're that generation that's going to create that heavenly environment on earth. In this day, it'll be written down that we've overcome. And that's what I stand by, and nothing's going to change it.
That's the last word, Chairman. This has been the Straight Talk Morning Show. We're glad, we hope we woke somebody up or encouraged them. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Conversation, peace.